So now that you've had a chance to look at the hot coffee case video, I wanted to share a few things about it. The first is that it does illustrate some relevant concepts in tort law. For example, the process by which the jury assigned blame in Stella's case is an example of comparative negligence. So the jury decided that while McDonald's was, for the most part, the responsible party, it was their error or their negligence that caused the damages to Stella. They also attributed some responsibility to Stella herself. And that is called comparative negligence. It's almost never a complete, well, I shouldn't say almost never, but it is often not completely one person's fault. That means possibly the jury felt somehow Stella could have done something to avoid the injury. Maybe they felt that she should have doctored her coffee outside the car completely, pulled over and stopped and taken off the lid outside the car so that she wouldn't have been burned, or not tried to drink it in the car, whatever. They decided that there was a small percentage that was attributable to Stella of fault. And what they do then is assess the total amount of the damages that she suffered that they're going to award. And then they determine what percentage might be her fault and deduct that amount from the total award. So if it was a 10%, if they felt it was 90% McDonald's fault and 10% Stella's, they would come up with the full amount and then deduct from that 10%. That's the concept of comparative negligence. So you divvy up as a jury, you decide who's responsible and what percentage is their responsibility, and then you assess them damages accordingly. So that's comparative negligence. The second thing I want to point out that was done in this case was the punitive damages. Punitive is just like what it sounds, punishment. So the jury, beyond assessing compensatory damages, which were meant to compensate Stella for her injuries, so the doctor's bills, the lost wages if she had any, the pain, the suffering, the whatever she personally went through, those are compensatory damages. But the jury went above and beyond that and actually assessed a penalty to McDonald's in the form of the verdict. That's called punitive damages. And they do that to send a message. In this case, basically telling McDonald's that you have to stop treating people as if they don't matter. If it's just a small percentage of your billion-dollar business, they still count. And I thought it was kind of neat the way the jury came up with it. I think they assessed McDonald's punitive damages that equaled 2 days worth of their worldwide hot coffee sales. So they thought about it anyway. Put some thought into it. So comparative negligence and punitive damages are two concepts that are illustrated in this case, in this hot coffee case. And the last thing that I want to leave you with is just a plea to be thoughtful about these things. You saw how the media turned this case really upside down into a circus. And by the time information was sort of funneled out to the public, it didn't really reflect reality. I remember when this first came out, and the story that was told popularly was, well, this woman went to get some coffee. She was driving and trying to put cream in her coffee, and she spilled it on herself, got a little burn, and sued and won the lottery, won $1 million. When in fact, it was really a lot more involved than that. She wasn't driving. They had pulled over. She suffered really disturbing burns. It wasn't just a little burn. It was major skin grafts and surgeries that had to follow. And McDonald's allegedly knew. So there's a lot more to this story than what came through in that. I don't know how many words did they say, it was reduced to 45 words or something, that the media chose to present to make it maybe a little more sensational, or something that will pique people's interest without necessarily going into all the details. So the next time you hear of something, an episode or something in the print or news media, internet, online, wherever, do yourself a favor and do a little bit of your own digging. The answers are there if we decide to look for ourselves instead of just being fed what some media corporation decides will sell and will pique our interest, whether it's a real reflection of the facts or not. So it really does no one any good if we're just buying these little blurbs that are fed to us as some kind of little tidbit that maybe isn't the full story. So just a word of caution. Maybe we should all be a little more thoughtful about what we're choosing to believe.